Hi, welcome back to Protect Your Peace. I'm your gracious host LT. Thank you so much for taking the time to tap into my channel. If you haven't already, you know what I want you to do. Click that like and subscribe button. I am dedicating this episode to a mother, a sister, and a friend. Rest in peace, Laisha Haynes. You will be sorely missed. Coming up, I'm going to be discussing everything from motherhood to sisterhood, the right to a safe childbirth, hair, strength, and everything and anything in between. This is for any woman who has had to put black woman in front of anything you research on Google or Pinterest. I really want to know, do you think it's true that being a black woman is a blessing or a burden? Leave that in below in the comment section. Stay tuned. Protect your peace, repeat after me, singing no, 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 saying protect your peace, PYP, 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 ooh. Kelly gave you coffee in the morning, Sierra took us to brunch with Rooted, and Beyonce took us all to a 3-course dinner with Black is King. 2020 has been a good year to be a black woman, but it all depends on your perspective. I draw this conclusion based on things that I see and know and have read personally. As I was taking and preparing these notes for this episode, the reality that like I said, and the conclusion that I draw was that it's both. I think it's a pure combination, and I'll get into that further on in this episode. But would I give my blackness up to be any other race? Absolutely, undeniably, indisputably, hell to the no. I mean, who else is more imitated but us? Who else can be able to make the ghetto fabulous but us? I don't know, but when you find out, let me know. You know, I mean, to the point that they're seriously buying and selling what makes us us. So it's not just those factors itself, but it's so much more that makes me would never, long story short, trade in my blackness for anything else. So I hope you share that sentiment. From cosmetic surgery to articles of clothing, we are obsessed with. We are simply and forever will be blessed just to be born in this brown skin. Lips and hips vary among us, but melanin, you can't deny it, you can't hide it. Another distinct quality is our hair. You know, don't get me started on our hair, but since we're here, don't touch my hair. Alright, I ain't gonna try to disrespect Solange like that. But A Seat at the Table was released at the crux of when LT was really getting to know me and love me in my totality for the first time in my life. So Solange, shout out to Solange. That Seat at the Table, like I said, was a really special album, and it gave me a voice when I feel like I didn't have one. So I appreciate that album, and it's just entirety for what she brought for all black women. Like, it was a beautiful time because I was embracing my hair, and I started to see people who looked just like me everywhere, not just in my everyday passing, because I was still in the city at that time, and you know, you could see millions of people within a week. It really feels like that. If that pardon me if that's not the case, it feels like you pass a million people a week, but it was so nice to see myself reflected, and you will always see that sister with the crown or natural hair or head wrap and be like, okay, I see you. You can crush any, emphasis on the any style with ease. You know, our hair, aka our crown, is a symbol of our pride. I know mine is, and I hope that you share that sentiment. I do have this love-hate relationship with my hair. I know we all do, but still, like Solange said, don't touch my hair. You know, I think about the young girls in South Africa who are protesting, probably still to this day, the right to wear their hair natural because European cultures are still so ingrained. The dominant powers that be are still up withholding those standards that, you know, young girls should really wear weaves to school. Like, so there's, you know, shout out to all the young girls who are protesting to be their natural selves and wear their hair as it naturally comes out their head. Nevertheless, always the more, our hair will always be a distinct vibe that only we can bring, whether it's weave, braids, wigs, frontals, whatever, balds, however you are rocking your crown. Like, do what makes you feel most beautiful today and always. I'm seeing this wave of unapologetic women who are just rocking rocking their natural and enjoying how they show up in the world. And it's a beautiful thing to see, whether you have to have your face beat, whether you gotta have your lace front, like just enjoy what makes you you. And that's the beauty. I love to see it. Like I really do love to see it. The only, my PS on that note is the only kinks you need to remove is the ones in your mind. The ones in your hair is just fine. I made a disclaimer last episode. Y'all know I'm not a licensed professional, but please make it your business to make health your priority. And any signs of warning that your body feels, like I said about being in tune with your body, anything that feels out of the ordinary, or anything that is like your body is doing this, because this is what your body will do, like flashing hazard signs, like whether that's a throbbing headache, a stomach ache, whatever, your body is going to let you know when it's not feeling its best. So please listen to it. We're too important to be losing our lives at such rapid rates, or for just things that could have been checked on. Fibroids are very common amongst African Americans, and that has to do with a lot of our dietary choices and stress. Breast cancer is the second leading killer amongst African American women. Just want to bring it to your awareness that check on those things. These are things that are common within our community, and they get the best of us, and they're painful, and our family goes through these things that we go through, and it's just unfortunate when I see it and I hear about it. I've had sisters who suffered from some of these things, and it's sad and it's unfortunate. So just bring awareness to yourself and to your health, and to you listening to your body, and make the best choices you can possible when it comes to health and your livelihood and your eating habits, and be mindful of stress. Stress breeds illnesses, and stress can actually kill you slowly. Pardon me. I just want to put that out there as we bring mental health and wellness into our conversations. I just want to make sure that's something that we are knowing, that this is a real life issue that we have to deal with. The cycle of taking care of the family when you're a Black woman never ends, but we must make it a priority to put ourselves first and choose the best thing, and that looks like just checking up, doing the breast check, and you do your breast check and you feel for any lumps and anything that doesn't feel normal, things like that, and making sure your nieces know about that, and right? So we already know. I just wanted to bring that up because, like I said, it's something, having dedicated this episode to a woman who's young like we are, and whilst her life's pretty young, it's sad, and she's a mother, and it's sad, I don't want to see it happen. I don't want to see it happen. It's heartbreaking for the community, for the family, and I want us to live long, fruitful, meaningful lives full of nights that we don't remember, with people we won't forget. Seriously, I wish that for all of you, and I know you can do that if your health is intact and your mental health is intact. So that's why I have to stress. Really, we see this role of caregivers through women, whether that's in the nursing home taking care of the elderly, or whether that's in the nursery taking care of babies. We just see this cycle of women, and specifically Black women, who take that role to nurture and take care. This year alone has been a microcosm of who we have been throughout history, always showing up to do anything that's necessary to save and take care of those in need. Caregivers and providers have been giving much needed aid and support to our communities, and which has been disproportionately affected by the COVID-19 global pandemic, especially considering at the rate at which Black women have faced layoffs, furloughs, and reductions in hours due to the pandemic. Activists fighting on the front lines against racism, discrimination, police brutality. Black women do not get a day off. The cycle of caregiving never ends, and sometimes that can take a toll on your health. Yes, there is beauty in the blessing in knowing that you are part of the essence of life. And I especially salute the Black healthcare workers who have shown up tirelessly, clocked in from one job to have to just clock in at home. I salute you and I hear you. Unfortunately, research concludes disparities among Black women are astounding. period. No matter what field you're looking at, black women in relation to, like, the disparities are just tremendous compared to any other nationality of women. Like with black women, it's really heartbreaking and it's unfortunate. So because we are not heard, and for the mere or sheer fact that they think that we can tolerate pain because we are stronger, because being a strong black woman is something that they associate so commonly that they think that we can take pain on more than other people, and they don't diagnose us like they should because they think that we can tolerate stuff more than other people. It's really astounding to think about the reality of our lives and healthcare professionals. Sometimes it's not the greatest outcome, and sometimes, I can't talk about the negatives without talking about the wins. Sometimes there are amazing breakthroughs in healthcare, and a lot of us personally, like I said, I've had sisters who've had dealt with some medical issues, and if it wasn't to medical Western care, Western practices, then we couldn't say from right then, like immediately, we know something worse could have happened. So I can't say all the bad without saying the good that has come with it. But I know if you can result to holistic and healthy practices, I highly advise that you do, and always have a backup plan for when things can go wrong. What would you do? Who would you contact? Just be mindful of, like I said, of your health and your health status, so that if things were to arise, you know who you should go to, and you know these doctors, these holistic doctors, most importantly, who to seek out, because they're there. That's the fire thing, and a lot of them are raising black women. So look those people up and have them in your back pocket for when something goes wrong. I can't stress the importance of having a backup plan, especially for women who are on their first or just the journey to motherhood. I see some unfortunate events when that happens because they don't hear our cries, like I said, the same. So the importance of taking the holistic route, and having a childbirth at home. There's a new wave of women who are, like I said, are becoming aware of the importance of having a midwife on deck, and which are, like I said, a lot of them are women of color that I see, and it's amazing. And shout out to all the women who are doing steamings. That a black woman put me onto steaming. Shout out to Megan and Yes God Wellness. Life changing, like yoni steaming. Like I said, there's so many holistic healing practices that you should first seek out before ever having to rely on Western medicine for anything. So, yes. Find a doctor if you must, and be savvy enough to do your own research. Just note that Western medicine is into the treatment business, not the healing business. If they cure you, they don't get paid. So just remember that. And that's my take. Like many problems of the world, especially here in America, the hypersexualizations of black women stems from racism. Do your research like I tell you in these episodes, and you'll find just what I'm finding. It's all hidden in these books, but the answers are definitely out there that confirm these stem from racist points of view, white Anglo-Saxon men, and like I said, their projected lenses that they've constantly put out into the world. And the narrative that they've continued to tell has stemmed a lot, or has a lot to do with why black women are always sexualized in the most gruesome ways, and we're not free to express our sexuality the way other people express it. We see from Anita Hill to Cyntoia Brown that if you decide you're going to publicly shame or try to defend yourself against a gruesome attack or a male perpetrator, then the world of politics and the systems surrounding it will come down raining on you and your family. And we see that evidence with the black women who have dealt with these situations, and kind of make them afraid to want to come forward with anything that kind of defend themselves, because they know the reality of the situation is that the perpetrator will likely get away with it, because we've seen it over and over and over again. But like I said, I'm an optimist, and I can't help but bring the good into the bad and say, when we look at progress, we do see that Cyntoia Brown is out. She's out of prison, and she's living a life and healing from her open wounds, her old wounds, pardon me. So it's a good thing. Society views our girls as more mature and less innocent is the reason that predators prey on them so easily. the reason that they're seen and snatched within a blink of an eye off the streets, and so many girls are going missing because they don't feel our girls are as innocent, like I said, as their white counterparts. And it gets worse when you, like I said, just mentioned sex trafficking. Like, is this so hard to believe we just want to live regular, degular lives like everybody else? You know, why, without being subjected to societal standards or definitions, aka white male projections about the black woman and the black body? Granted, we play all roles and we do it well, but we just want to enjoy the journey of womanhood, just being a woman, not a strong black woman, just a woman. So I feel you, and I know it's burdensome sometimes, you know, like that's when I sell the scale sometimes tips, because it's sometimes burdensome to always have to have that connection or some stereotype attached to being a woman. There's always just something, you know, and does that make it a target? Does that make us targets for senseless crimes? I think absolutely. You know, we're so strong that we should accept volatile behavior from men. Like, think about it. They think that we're so strong that we don't feel things the way other people feel it. So why shouldn't we be subjected to certain types of behavior? And speaking of strong, just why do black women have to be strong all the time for everybody? Why do we have to assert our space or fear rejection? Why, oh why, oh why? Granted, we play all roles and we do it well, but we just want to enjoy the journey of womanhood, just being a woman, not a strong black woman, just a woman. So I feel you, and I know it's burdensome sometimes, you know, like that's when I sell the scale sometimes tips, because it's sometimes burdensome to always have to have that connection or some stereotype attached to being a woman. There's always just something, you know, and does that make it a target? Does that make us targets for senseless crimes? I think absolutely. You know, we're so strong that we should accept volatile behavior from men. Like, think about it. They think that we're so strong that we don't feel things the way other people feel it. So why shouldn't we be subjected to certain types of behavior? Strength like ours is the reason women survive. But just know, you don't have to be strong all the time, and especially not for everybody. Reach out to your tribe, because I know life be life, and sometimes it gets too much. So reach out to your tribe when you need help. And sometimes I can't help but stress how much of a beautiful blessing it is when that hand looks like yours and it's your sister reaching out to pull you up. You know, gardens bloom like that. Like, gardens grow like that. I really believe every time you pull your sister up, a garden grows. That's the LT quote for you. I'll put it on the shirt. No matter what, we are going to show up and make it look easy. We can't help it. That's the strength that comes with being black. Like I said, that's that double-edged sword. Like, that's the blessing and the burden. Like, that's just how we are. You know, sometimes we at our worst and we going to show up to work and not call out. And I know tons of women like that. They will just be at their worst and still show up for work because they are also relied upon as far as financial concerns goes, and also because they don't want to appear weak or seem unreliable in their job. So we don't take off those days of work and focus on our health or just things that we should because of the roles that we just expected to play, you know. But I just want to make a point to say, make sure you put yourself first. Protect your peace. When we say protect black women, we mean all black women, from Sandra Bland to Breonna Taylor to Oluwatoyin Salute. Every black woman needs protection, and if that woman doesn't look like you, that means that she needs your protection too. Sometimes especially because that. You know, I don't care if she naked or like Meg or covered up like Issa. Protect black women. These senseless crimes happen. Why does our desensitized behavior rear its ugly head and ask, well, what did she do? Why did he respond the way he did it? And we don't really look at the male's behavior because we normalize that behavior, but instead we ask, what did she do to put herself in that situation? We've all been guilty of it, and I know it's common because you can just go look at any section on Instagram with Tory and Meg the Stallion, that common dispute that's going on, and you should see what black women specifically are just saying about protecting her and how they don't believe her. So it's gruesome. It gets really ugly, you know. So it's a double-edged sword when you think about like the desensitized behavior and where does that come from, and why do we subject that behavior to other women who look just like us when that could have easily been us. You know, we got to stop and ask ourselves that question. This what this this vlog is about like bringing awareness to our behavior so that we can evolve and be better people. So I want us to be mindful about that when we judge women, not knowing, and that's the thing about history, period. You weren't there. You're always going to be reading somebody else's story unless you heard it from the horse's mouth himself, and then you still gonna be heard it. My dad always said this: your side, her side, and then the truth. So I just shared a seriously large gap in wages between two professional athletes in basketball, of the opposite sex. I'm talking in the millions. So we can just hypothesize how much the average woman and what the average jobs go through with discrimination and just not getting paid what she's worth. We know that to happen just all the time. Black women and the wage gap is an issue that needs to be dissected, especially because most black women are the head of their households. And that's just the fact of the matter and something that has to be considered. They make it hard for women who have to feed multiple mouths, and sometimes that's the case with taking care of, like I said, other babies that sometimes don't belong to you, extending yourself to the family, taking care of your grandparents, the elderly. Sometimes that one person is always relied upon, and that is a financial burden sometimes. So, and sometimes that person wants to live a meaningful life and go on vacation, but they can't because they're struggling to keep up with just the bills and just the basic essentials. The system is designed that way, so we have to do our part to look out for one another just to make sure we always have that one up. We show up ready to win every battle and eventually win the war. And I think we're doing a great job of making great progress. Like I said, slow progress is better than no progress. So I'll take it, and I would say it's happening for what I like to see. Anything I'm thinking about, there's a woman, a black woman. If I'm looking for anything in any field, a photographer, a landscape artist, architect, design, anything, I know that there's a black woman that's doing that, and that's a really comforted feeling for me or for anybody and ready to go that extra mile. You see it all the time. We are always ready to go, take off our earrings, put on that scarf, and go to work for what we want, especially when we want it. So there should be no shortage when it comes to the things that we want, and professionally we should be compensated. Not a day, like I was saying, not a day goes by where there's a woman that you don't know, that I don't know, on our timeline anywhere in the world that's not fighting some form of power and patriarchy. So salute a woman when you see her coming up on her way up, and know that that's a win for you when you see a woman doing well. And support it or not, we're gonna make it happen. That's just the resilient thing about us, and that's one of the great qualities about us. We're resilient, and if we want something, we're determined we're gonna make it happen and change the world while we're doing it. If 1992 was the year of the woman, then 2020 is the year of the black woman, and I don't want to hear nothing about it. I'm declaring it. Old burdens of racism and sexism still exist, but we show up, like I said, ready to win the battle every day. And doors and holes that was once closed to us are now open, and people are coming to knock on our doors, and it's a beautiful sight to see. So I hope that is shared upon, things that you're viewing in your daily life, that you're seeing women who inspire you, because I see it all up and down my timeline, and I love it. Younger women than me, those are my favorite. When I see young women that inspire me, I think it's brilliant. And I always wish that, like, I did, but I don't resent. I'm always proud, like, yes girl, do it, and I get strength from supporting my sisters, and I hope that that there's power in doing that. Like I said, a win for her is a win for me. The more doors that we are building, the more doors that we don't have to go knocking on that don't look like us. And that is a beautiful and empowering fact. Like, black women have been the backbone of this country, and I think more and more of us are becoming aware of this fact, and we're taking pride in that fact. It's really a pleasurable sight to see women flying out internationally just to turn up with their friends. Like, that's a great sight to see. I love to see the twerking on the boats with the pop and the champagnes. Like, I love it. It's great for a turn up. Like, I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see a woman getting what she wants out of life, whether she's using her body or working her mind. Like, I'm just happy that she's getting what she wants. Like, whatever makes you happy, do you. I mean that. Like, live how you see fit. Don't let nobody judge you. Don't let nobody define you or box you or say how you should live your life. Like, more life. If it makes you happy, you can sleep at night. the garden moms who just want to zen the F out, and shout out to the ones who are just ambitious and never take a day off. Like, all of us are a part of making sure we develop and um, are a part of this evolution of Black women. Like, I love to see it. Be happy to be you. You are contributing to it just by existing, honey. I love to see you shine, queen. Keep doing your thing. Now, if only we could get these brothers in line. As a Black woman, I can't tell you enough about not feeling protected from Black men. You know, it's one thing, it's a disgusting feeling to be subjected to police brutality and the wrongdoings by those men, but to not feel protected when at a time of need from a Black man, it's a painful, gut wrenching, cast iron to the dome feeling. To know that what I would put out wouldn't be reciprocated. That's a heartbreaking feeling, and to know that it would be a Black man who the Black woman has continuously protected, just done so much for. It's a different pain that stings, because it sends a message like, if you don't protect us and aren't willing to, then who will, or why should they? And you know, the response that sends and the message that sends is just, it doesn't look good for us. It doesn't make us feel good. And life is a feeling process, and it doesn't make us feel good as Black women knowing that we wouldn't be supported. And if I may briefly, you know, chime in on the Meg Thee Stallion situation, if what I'm finding from Instagram is true, and that like she's not willing to, or wasn't willing to personally fault him because she was trying to protect him, I'm like, after somebody wrongs you, that's your first instinct to protect them, and that happens over and over and so often in our communities. Like, we are victims, and so often we protect our perpetrators because knowing what could be worse if the law got a hold of them. Like, that's crazy. I'm not gonna go deep. And having the retort is that we're angry, we're bitter, and you know, we're violent. As the response is not the response that we need, and nor that we ever are looking for. Like I said, not all. It's always not all, but it is common. It is very common. And like I said, the truth is in the comment section if you're looking. And any comment section between some disagreements between men and women, the truth is always there. It's never, like I said, a pretty thing to see, and it's painful. It's painful to know that people are actually thinking that and writing that on a public platform. Like, it's disgusting. But you know, it is what it is. Referring this back to Black women makes me think about, if I ever needed to go to war, I have a long list of women I know I would want to soldier with, but the list of men is shot, and that is like, you know, that's a problem, because I know so many men who would quickly call on a woman if they needed to go to war with somebody. They know the woman would be most loyal to them before the guys, before a lot of their bros. Like, their woman will come through for them. So just to think about reciprocity on that level, you know, it makes you take a stand back. My first male guest on the Blue Couch, we don't discuss that. I'm gonna make sure I bring that. With everything that happens to us, we could either let it make us or break us. I choose to never play victim and never feel that I'm gonna let these circumstances define me, or, you know, they could give me a little characteristics, they could make me a little tougher, but I'm not gonna play victim and let that person have a one-up on me because of the situation. Most certainly not gonna allow a man who hasn't dealt with unresolved issues project their feelings onto me. A man who hasn't dealt, felt, or healed from anything that they've gone through tell me how I should feel, or project any hurtful feelings onto me, because I know hurt people. But the great part about it is that I chose what my narrative is going to be, and I chose how I want myself to be referred to or spoken about. And if you can choose, I hope you choose to live a hell of a fabulous life and never play victim. So there are so many things and so many women that I could think of that are just doing it and doing it well. And if I could, I know a few Black women that could get busy, literally. It was amazing to see myself in her work. Like, wow, oh my goodness, Beyonce, like I said, she took us to a 3-course dinner, and it was absolutely amazing. Like, no need for dessert, no room. You know, that was amazing. When I think about Beyonce and Erykah Badu and SZA and Solange and Sid and Issa Rae and Lena Waithe, and Lovey, and Aonisha, I think about all the women who are make me proud to be a queer black woman, and it's great. Like, it's great to see myself as represented, and knowing I never have to go far, because those women share their talents with the world, and I think that is so essential. If I may say, to have yourself show up the way you see yourself and your authentic self. This cup says I'm a DTOD, and that's a different type of different, and all those women are just that. They're a different type of different, and they bring something great to the pot by being their authentic selves, and I love that, and it makes me proud to show up and be my authentic self. And I think that everyone at one point in time in their life should have that feeling where they're proud to show up and be who they are and have their contribution to the world be met with such grace and such gratitude. This is my small contribution to the world right now, me doing my PYP and bringing these peaceful factors to your mind and just making you aware. That's why, like I said, that's what I'm here for, bringing awareness and starting conversations. I want to be comfortable talking about the foreign and the taboo topics within our families, within our relationships, because that's how we grow and that's how we evolve. And I'm all about that. Even thinking about the production behind Brown Skin Girl and how Beyonce just, sought out all those beautiful shades and beautiful women and men. It was really great, and I can't even begin to imagine how much it felt as a model to be sought out, to have your body admired and not exploited. I think that was her sentiment, and that's what I took from it, and I thought it was beautiful. I literally was moved to like tears just thinking about me in this 30 plus year old body and thinking what a 3-year-old child looks like. Representation is everything, and to see yourself reflected in such a happy and joyful way, in such a glamorous way, with all the floral arrangements and all the costume designs and the colors and just the African pride. It was just beautiful. It was really beautiful, and like I said, it makes you question every lie that you was told about Africa, and make you know that there's more to what they're not telling you. There's more than meets the eye, and Beyonce helped bring a great vision to the Africa that you don't see, and it was great. I mean, there's many more people who have been doing it before her, before anybody gets me, but I'm just saying, like, she has a great platform, and she helped bring and connecting that, thinking about the blessings of being a black woman. It's just like getting rid of these white Anglo-Saxon projections onto societies, because like they thought the Mona Lisa was the epitome of beautiful. So how are you going to tell me that all of this ain't beautiful? Like, I can't listen to what you say when I look at the lies that you fed society, and that's to be considered. Like, what feels good to you, and what is constantly being emulated in society, and it looks like this very often. Not exactly to the T, but very often you could point out distinct characteristics that you see being trendy, and it's low-key gross. It's low-key obsessive. They got a problem, but that's not what I choose to focus on. Like I said, I focus on the optimism and the joy in that, is knowing that I'm what you want, and you can't have this. Like, I was born in all this glory, and that's a blessing. That's an absolute blessing. That's only my stance here. That's all I want to do here, and that's my contribution here. If I brought something to your awareness and your daily behavior, and as you go forward, then I've done my job, and I'm completely satisfied. I think it's a fair slice down the middle to say that being a black woman is both a burden and a blessing. It depends on what time of the day you catch me. I could be followed around the store and been mad because I'm black, but then I could be admired while I'm in another store for being black, or just being myself, or my lovely self. Then it depends on when you catch me. But there are different times of the day when I realize that there's being a black woman is a burden and it's a blessing. But my greater takeaway is that I will always choose my blackness, that I always would see it as a blessing, and I hope that you do too. My sister had said to me when I was discussing this with many of the women who I just wanted to get their honest opinion, she said it feels more like a burden, but I know it's a blessing. And, it was, I agreed with her, because life is a feeling process, and If you're not feeling and going through things, then are you even human? Of course, you are going through things and you are feeling that, for feeling whatever way about it. So I thought that was the greatest part that I love, and that was a great takeaway for me. That it does feel like that, but what we know is that it is a blessing, even though it appears to be a burden sometimes. It's all about perspective, and it's all about the way you see things, and um, I was okay with that. I'm okay with it being both. So that's my takeaway, and just you can't help how you feel. Just go through this journey and do what feels good to you. Yeah, and share that feeling if it feels good. Being a black woman is both a burden and a blessing, but it's strength like ours that make women survive and have been surviving for generations. You do what you will with that. Shout out to the women who are no longer uh, dealing with people or things that make them feel like shit, and instead using that manure to help themselves grow up and grow into these beautiful beings and blossom beautifully. And I love to see it, and I know you do too. We are an integral part of society, in every role that we play, everything that we do, and every way that we show up. It is fundamental that we do that and keep doing that, and enhancing the ways that we do that, and not just staying confined into the boxes and living the lives and on the past that our sister said and our mother said and our grandmother said and our boyfriends want us to be like, or girlfriends, whomever. Like, do what feels good for you and define your own journey and your own path in your own time. Take pride in the fact that you are a web, you are part of this web of the world, like, and one small part without you, this whole shit collapses. So be prideful no matter what, and know that it is a blessing to be. To my next episode entitled "Your Diet is Gay." Spicy, but not like Popeye's chicken spicy. Stay tuned.